Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Terrible Video Gamers Club GameClub podcast. This week, we'll be discussing The Outer Wilds. We will not be discussing the game in full because we all have been working on it and all have not completed it yet, but we want to. So we're just going to give a little check-in and see how we are. And I'm Josh Cox, joined by Alex Purdy.
Hello, everybody.
And Tyler Schatz.
Howdy.
And so, yeah, we're just going to catch up on our thoughts of the game so far and reconvene next week and see how we're going with it. So starting off the game, I guess I would start off the game talk by saying, how about that opening song?
So good.
It's so good. The music in the game is great. So many good moments in there, really. But Shotzi, we were talking slightly a bit about it before, and you said even before the opening song, you were already liking the game on your TV, right?
Yeah, there's that intro of showing the designers and the studio and stuff like that. That screenshot of just the space background and their logo is kind of fading in with the star or whatever. It looks so beautiful on my TV.
On Tyler's $8 million 18K TV for the audience.
Yeah, to put it out there, it's an LG OLED TV. So pretty.
Because you're playing on the, I guess, I'm on the PC, so I'm just on my 24-inch monitor. So it's a Starfield. It looks nice, but it's not blowing my mind. But you're on the Xbox One then?
Yeah, the Xbox One X for this one.
Okay, nice. Because was it still on Game Pass for free there? Or did you just buy it?
I have it. I'm pretty for sure I got it with the games for gold at one point in time.
That's right.
But it says Game Pass on mine though. But I'm pretty for sure it's mine though.
Okay.
Well, mine. Air quotes there with the gold stuff.
Yeah. And then Purdy, you're on PC, right?
I'm on PC, and also I realized, because one of the first thing the game says is this, Outer Wilds is best played on a gamepad. I realized I sold my gamepad, so I've been playing on keyboard and mouse the whole time well, which is actually, I was really worried because I feel like when designers tell you it's best to play on a controller, they're not just saying that for fun, like they mean it. So I was like, oh crap, it's gonna be wonky, but it's been great so far, so I guess I can't.
I'm glad. I was last podcast left off with me saying, well, I'm excited to go to mouse and keyboard with it, and I'm playing with the controller now. Like something about it with my 144 hertz screen plus the mouse and keyboard feel, like it just, there was a weird choppiness to it. So then I went and saw people saying like, well, it's better with the gamepad if you play it that way. I'm like, all right, well, so I tried it out, and sure enough, I don't feel the choppiness there. So how it goes.
I must just be lucky then.
Yeah. Could be, because I also I just dragged it over to my 60 hertz monitor, and that felt better too. So maybe it's just a matter of specifically my 144 hertz monitor just doesn't work well with it. I don't know. But anyway, small details aside, I think both controls modes feel great. And so you start off the game. This might be just a little bit more story based thing, but yeah, you start off with the Outer Wilds, going around your little village. You're an alien on an alien world, so you're just do they say the name of your alien race specifically at all? Do you know?
I don't think so. I think they just always refer to their home world. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you have your world of Timber Hearth that you start off at.
I don't think it was, well, the only name I remember seeing kind of pop up constantly was the name of the other alien race that you're looking for.
Yeah, the Nomai or whatever. Yeah.
Which I always misread as Naomi. Because it's the same letters rearranged, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that I've suffered from it terribly on this, where I see 1,000 uniquely spelled things and I never know how to actually pronounce them because I'm just reading them and I'm not hearing them. So yeah, no spoken dialogue in the game. It's all just pops up in text dialogue boxes. But you go around your village and you're part of the Outer Wilds Venture Program, something like that, I think it is, where you're basically part of a space program. You're going to go out into the world or into the universe and find things out for your people and bring back some information. There's already other adventurers that have gone out there, and you're just a new part of them. And then, I guess, a statue of one of those precursor races, this ancient race, the Nomai, has come before you, and you're trying to find their lost technology. Typical video game story at this point. And then a statue appears to you to speak to you or reacts to you somehow, and your pictures from your mind kind of go into the statue, and then at that point you start, without knowing it, you start into a loop of time. You then take off from the planet, and 22 minutes later, your adventure comes to an end as the sun explodes in a supernova. And at that point, you then restart the next day. It's a very Groundhog Day style setup to a fairly common video game story setup, and I think it works well.
I mean, it might be less than 22 minutes there your first run because I launched straight to the sun. Apparently,
Yeah, that was your
Fair
first
enough.
achievement or something. I think I saw. It was like you died within 60 seconds of spawning. Does
I
that
got
sound
that.
right?
I got that one last night. That was me basically flying
Oh.
and bouncing like straight into the planet's surface or something like that.
Did you
Nice.
guys like actually go around and talk to everybody that you could, or did you kind of jump into it? Because I talked to like half the people. I'm like, I need to go. I can fly. And then I was
Yeah.
reading later on in a forum because I had to look something up. What was it? I can't remember. It was something very basic.
No, yeah.
It wasn't the signal scope, but it was like another tool or something. And they're like,
Oh, yeah. Like
the
how to
best thing to
repair or
do in a
something.
game like this, like every game designed like this, is to go around and talk to everybody to learn how the game works. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
it
did
is.
that.
Yeah, it's not set up. The opening village has got a lot of little things like you go around. There's kids that want to play a game of hide and seek, which teaches you how to use this little signal scope, is what it's called, that kind of helps you locate sound sources, and that ends up being an important thing. All the adventurers that have gone off to different planets each carry their own instrument, and they're playing a song. You can find where they are, which planet they're on, and where they are on that planet, just listening for their instrument. And then there's another section where you go down into the mines where there's a 0G spot in the mines, because that's what happens in the Earth's crust, I guess. Is that you can get to a spot, and then that teaches you how to jetpack around and the different physics based on that, matching velocity and repairing things. I feel like there's
I
probably
didn't find
another
that one.
No, yeah,
Nope. Didn't know that
Yeah.
exists.
yep. That one even is a little tricky because like it's the main path as you are going up past the ghost matter spot where they're doing that, and then you see the observatory over to your right, and you go there.
Yeah,
but then
there's
there's
a guy in the mines.
Yep, the little guy in the mines. There's just a little note stuck in there saying, "Hey, if you want to do one last jetpack practice, come see me." And so that's really the only way that you know that. And then you go in there and talk to him, and he's like, "Oh, hey, go do this," or you can tell him, "I'm good," and just not do it, or just not talk to him. There you go. So yeah, yesterday when we were talking about this, the concept was like, well, none of us has finished this, and I felt like I was starting to like I'd been in some areas that I could tell were like starting to be in-game stuff. Turns out I was wrong, and now I feel like I'm definitely in the in-game stuff. I'm looking at puzzle pieces and can see I have everything here to be put together. So I intentionally, like some epic music started happening, and I just intentionally said, no, I can't go into this discussion having finished the game at all. So I will try and
Good
refrain.
man.
I went ahead and just quit out at that point and just ended that loop. So I've visited most of the planets. I have most of the log set up. There's a ship log in there that tracks like, hey, here's all the different things by planet, and there's also a rumor mode on that ship log. I don't know which version you guys have been using. Personally, the rumor mode to me is like super convoluted. It looks like from Always Sunny in Philadelphia whenever Charlie goes crazy and tries to put Pepe Sylvia together on the wall, and it's just like threads everywhere that don't make any sense. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have any.
I think I've looked at that multiple times just to go, okay, what do I want to do on this run here or something
Right.
like that. I'll get into that like a little bit more of my experience with the game a little later, but it's like, okay, I'm looking at this going, okay, I'll go to this planet and see if I can't check some more stuff off on it.
Before I die.
Right. Yeah, the ship log is what I've been using. The rumor mode is, I feel like it's a good way to figure out like, okay, I'm trying to figure out more things about this. What do I need to be using here? Then that's like a good little connector for that. But otherwise, I felt like the previous time I played it and bounced off, the rumor mode just like didn't make sense to me, because like grouping things by planet, where it's like I'm going to go here and I'm going to look for these things, that makes more sense to me than looking at the rumor mode and going like, oh, well, here's just a missing thing. Where is it even? Like there's no real good indication of that sort of stuff. But so I just wasn't sure if anybody was using the rumor log as a main mode or not.
I think I might accidentally be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know like the spider web you're talking about, and I feel like I switched to that, look for something, because like I think I saw it told me there's more things to be found here as like a little
Yep.
hint.
There's a little
And
asterisk.
I think I just forgot about switching it back
Yeah.
since then.
Yep. Hey, no worries. Because yeah, I just prefer that little map view of it. It seemed to have been a very good way to push past my hurdles. Because I think the opening parts of the game, while like the music's good and stuff like that, like it's not necessarily it's not the most directed. You don't really know what your purpose is here. Like you have that initial like, oh, the sun exploded and I'm back alive, but that doesn't really direct you to go anywhere. There's still so much out there to kind of go towards. And so I guess without jumping too far ahead, so I pretty much have completed most of that log. So I'm not sure where y'all are at on that log. Have y'all visited most of the planets yet? Still anything you haven't visited?
I think I visited everything at least once, but I know at least in my experience, you have to visit more things, certain planets more than once from the
Right.
looks of it. So I feel like I still have a long way to go.
I think I've been to everything. I was looking at one of the ship logs or whatever the other night, and I think there might still be like maybe one moon I need to land on or something like that. But I'm pretty
Right.
sure I've probably been to everything.
Yeah, I noticed that the other day. That was one of my fast kills. Was that shows Brittle Hollow is a planet that has a volcanic moon that's constantly launching fireball meteors at the planet, and so the moon shows up as one of the spots on the map. So you can. So I was like, oh, I didn't know you could land on that. So I go ahead and take off and go to land there, thinking it's gonna be like some just like glowy orange crust or something. No, it's just lava. You just die. So, all right. Well,
So
I guess
maybe-
I'm not landing on that.
That might be the planet then that I still have left to visit.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's like,
Visit, air quotes or whatever.
right. Yeah. I mean, there's so many good little spots. Let's see. Yeah. So, favorite points at this point? Anything that stands out? Anything specifically y'all want to get to? Maybe Perd?
Man, favorite points. I mean, I'm a huge space nerd, so I think just flying around space is fun. It is kind of that times though a very terrifying game for me. Like when I first landed on deep what's
Giant
it called?
Steep. Yep.
Giant Steep. I was really not wanting to go into that first layer. And then I saw like 8 water tornadoes flying around. And I was like, oh my God, this is scary. And then I thought I could land like on top of the water and like kind of float there, which you kind of can.
Mm.
But then I saw like these creatures underneath the water, and I'm like, that's definitely got to be part of the story at some point. I'm going to have to swim down there. But I've still avoided that. But yeah, I find it very fun with the whole space element, flying to different places and landing and managing how fast you're getting there so you don't crash into the
Right.
the planet. I do find it annoying, but I know it's part of the game that like I'm searching through an area and then I see, for example, there's that sand planet, where like the sand is gradually rising and rising.
Yeah. Ember Twin. Yep.
Yeah, I find it so annoying when I finally can like get in there and I'm searching throughout these caverns and I'm getting, I'm using my reader thing to translate the text, and then I like see the sand rise. It's like I either leave or I like kind of get pushed up anyway, or I get
Right.
trapped in a room and I don't know what happens then. But
Yeah.
I know it's all part of each loop. Like you're gonna die. You only have so much time. But it is like, oh, I want to not have to rush through each loop, even though I know I can start over. But I have such like a wonky mind where it's like, I was just there. I'll come back there. I'll try a different planet this time, and
Yep.
no really good plan. And then by the time I decide which planet I'm going to, I don't have as much time as I need to. So yeah, but I've been enjoying it. It's been very fun. I enjoy the space kind of exploration idea very much.
Yeah. Well, especially leading it back off that point, then the travel from space. Are you using autopilot at all? Or are you manually flying everywhere? There's a lot of a decent assists in this game in terms of like how it controls.
Yeah, I feel like it's not too complicated to fly. If I know I have an absolute straight shot without running into something else, I might use autopilot. But
Right.
the few times I tried to use autopilot, I ran into the sun,
Right.
or I crashed into a planet that happened to orbit right in front of me. And it's like I might just kind of do it myself.
There you go. Yeah.
Because you can also use, for me, it's spacebar to get your
Match velocity, right?
Yeah, your velocity match. Then all you have to do is go forward, hypothetically.
Yep. Yeah, that part
So I'll
makes
use
orbital
that more
mechanics a
often.
lot easier.
Yeah.
Just like here, just the match button. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I
Yeah.
say any?
So
Yep.
yeah, I was gonna say for me, looking at my notes here, it took me until my sixth death before I actually died the first time by the sun exploding. Like the first one was just me launching into the sun, then I bounced off the planet and died. I don't know what I did for my third one here. My fourth one, the autopilot was the one that killed me there, so I haven't really like used autopilot all
Yep.
that much anymore. And the fifth one was I died of lack of my oxygen.
Yep. That's
One of my favorite things though was last night. So I don't know how much of a spoiler this really is, but like Brittle Hollow has the black hole inside of it.
yes.
And this like got to be towards the end of my run there. I knew my end was coming up, so I ended up falling into the black hole and then just kind of floating throughout space. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna bother. I'm gonna see what it actually looks like when the sun goes supernova. So that was kind of cool, basically just floating through space, slowly floating towards the sun and watch it turn from red and just explode basically at you there. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. It's a
I
great.
feel like the whole concept of time in this game it reminds me a lot of not Inception, Interstellar. Have you guys seen Interstellar? Matthew McConaughey. What? It is my favorite movie ever. So this is a total side note, but you need to watch that. But the whole concept of time is very important in that movie. Have you seen it, Tyler? Okay.
Yeah, I
feel
have.
like this one is a little bit like that, especially with the black holes. And JC, you know more than I think. Well, obviously I do. I don't know about more than Tyler, so don't spoil anything. But the first thing you see when you wake up after a run is it the orbital cannon or it's something, right? It's orbiting Helm or the Deep planet. I'm blanking on the name again, but it explodes. And I always try to rush up there to see what's going on. Oh yeah, drink your coffee. You must know something I don't. But anyway, like the concept of time and stuff seems very weird. And I'm very intrigued by this. Is that true, JC? Is time a big thing in this, or am I going completely crazy?
Time is a key point of the plot, I will say.
Tyler, you're farther than me from what you've heard me say, right? Like, how many hours have you put into this?
Maybe 3 or 4. I have no idea. Like,
dang, I don't know if I should say this. Then I'll save what I was going to say.
Go for it here. Like,
if it's pure speculation, then kind of go nuts, right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, so one of the texts that you transcribe eventually says like this event that happened. I won't say the event happened 5 minutes ago, and I was like, wait, that just was like, did it happen 5 minutes ago to them, or does it happen 5 minutes ago to me? Because I thought I witnessed this event also happened about 5 minutes ago. So I was very creeped out. And there it goes into the whole concept of time and how it works in different parts of the universe, how time on Earth is different than time in Jupiter or whatever. So I'm just intrigued to see where that kind of leads.
It will lead to some very fun places. I will say that much. Yeah. So to not give it too much away, you basically, it's all very well explained as you ramp up towards the end, is what I understand. I have no idea how much I have left, but by the time you get to a main room where things have been leading up to, there are plenty of logs from all the different people that have built stuff up that then say like, oh yeah, I was the one working on this project and now this is going to work great whenever we do this. So it's fairly not subtle, I guess would be the way to put it, but I liked it a lot. It was a really great experience to go through and just see every puzzle piece being put together for you. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen after this part, because I mean the story has been put together, but now I'm continuing it. So yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure where to go from here, really, in terms of conversation. This is our first one where we've been continuing the gameplay afterwards.
I have a good question, I think. Is it the type of game where you can advance the story without having to follow a specific path? It's like if you visit a different planet than maybe what you should, following the story, should in air quotes, can you still gain more information enough that you're advancing the story along, or do you have to kind of go from point A to point B eventually before the next part will trigger?
So my response to that, I guess, would be to say that it's a little bit like an Elder Scrolls game, as weird as that is to say, where you can technically go and do the in-game things right away. You don't need to necessarily, like, there's no you're just out there whenever you're going around and hitting up the different planets and stuff. It's just learning what to do later. Kind of like Groundhog Day, where it's like you just spend more time figuring out the lay of the land and everything like that. You're starting to see the little moments and starting to see past the other things. You're just trying out new things and learning more and more. There's another movie that we watched, me and my girlfriend, where it was the map of perfect tiny little things, something weird like that, on Amazon Prime, which is another Groundhog Day style movie where two people get stuck in a time loop together and they have to try and figure out their way out of it. And so that reminded me of that too, where it's just like you're just trying to go through and seeing, like, with this time loop and infinite time, you're just going ahead and figuring out the most ideal way to get about trying something new. Like, you're going to go to this planet and find out something you can here. And I feel like the Outer Wilds does a really good job of setting up things. Like, there's one point where I looked up something to do because I was not sure how to get past it. I was like, I got through door one, not an actual door, but got through door one, and then there was door two, and I was like, well, why'd they put me in here if I don't know how to get past door two? And so sure enough, I went ahead and just looked up, like, what do I need to do? And they're like, oh, here's how to get past door two. And then at that point later on, completely on a different adventure, I go and find that they actually did have a way that showed you in game how to get past door two, even though it looked like it was just something completely out of the blue. So they do a pretty good job of putting up information that will help you progress as you go along in the game without it necessarily being vital to have experienced that. You could technically finish the game if you knew what to do. You could get to the end game without going to most of the planets. It's just all setting up for the future stuff. So,
yeah, I guess I don't have any other good thoughts. If you guys have anything you want to say, I mean, I'm just excited to see what happens with the story. I haven't been this into a game story in a while, probably since Deliver Us the Moon.
There you go.
Very similar type of idea, but
I was thinking part of this might be some tips and tricks that we found, like the scout. If you send that out and it sticks to a wall, it also illuminates the area, which was a huge revelation for me, to light up dark areas. I was just previously going around to, like, dark caves and stuff with just my flashlight, and then I accidentally shot a scout at one point, and just like, oh, I can see everything now. This is fantastic. So that was a big one. Any other tips, tricks y'all have come across? Things that have made your lives easier? No,
not really.
Yeah.
Is there a good way to avoid the ghost matter when, like, you want to go past it? I know that you can just try hover over it, but on those planets where it's tough to just do that, I know you can't walk through it. Trust. But or is that just a good game mechanic of saying don't go this way? There was one way I did, like, boost over it and it worked out well, but a lot of other areas it seems like it's covering all the walls.
Yeah, for the most part, anytime there's ghost matter that I've come across, there's also an alternate path to get around it. You don't need to go down that hall. There'll be like a side ledge or something that you can jump around, or another path that then takes you above it, like in terms of an actual room that's above it, and then a hole in the floor lets you drop down past it, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. The translator stuff is great for helping find, like, there's tons of little things whenever you get to a spot that you look like you might be stuck. There's a little translator thing nearby usually that says, like, oh, hey, remember, this is how we get past this from the precursor race. And then you can always use that sort of thing to help get past it.
What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, like, if there's a spot where it looks like there's a puzzle or something, then there's typically a hint nearby.
Oh, okay. I thought, like, you could pull something up at any time.
Oh, no. Yeah. Like, they would just be like one of those scrawlings on the wall, which is a really cool little writing system that they just, like, have, like, a frequency line or something almost writing it down. I know that you guys can, not sure if you've seen it yet, but there's basically you can see where children used to play, and then they have the children's writing, and it's just like extra exaggerated lines version of the writing. It's extra scrawly, which cool little touch. The quantum moon. Have you guys experienced that yet? All right, never mind.
I have experienced. I think I found a really cool Easter egg.
Yeah?
I was searching with my signal scope around, just trying to find any unknown signals, just as like a way of like maybe I should go over here then. And in the black of space, away from any planets, it gave me the little outline like you can click on this and then you can match the velocity or autopilot. So I clicked on it and it was like 20 whatever their measurement is miles away. I'll just say miles, even though it's obviously not miles. And I autopiloted to it because there was nothing in the way, and it was just a satellite orbiting very far away from everything. Have you guys found this?
I don't.
And it was making some. Maybe I shouldn't spoil it. It's a good little Easter egg, but I don't know how you're going to find it. I don't even know how I found it. But there's like real world images and stuff on this satellite. It's playing like a weird song.
Huh.
It might be some of the pictures of the devs or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of cats on there.
Huh.
But it's very interesting. So if you happen to see something that doesn't look like there's nothing there, you should definitely click on it and check it out.
All right. Yeah. That's
you have
awesome.
to actually get out of your orbiter or your spacecraft to see it, but it's it's a fun little Easter egg.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would not have found that probably for the rest of my time.
Yeah. It was. I was very skeptical of what it was, but it was worth it.
Yeah. I guess I have nothing else here. I mean, I don't want to say too much more myself because I don't want to end up talking about things, but the game mechanics, they're not deep in. There are fun tools to be used that are left by the precursor race that will be a good time. That led to me just in the middle of talking with Shotzi on Discord randomly one night while I was playing. I just went speechless and started to freak out about what just happened. But learning how to use the different powers that have been left by you are a good time. And then, the in-game stuff is, it's really great. I can't wait for y'all to get there so we can talk about it more. Any other closing thoughts, I guess?
So I'll say this. This might come as a somewhat shock, whatever. I like the game and everything like that, but I don't know how much more I'm going to keep kind of like playing of it or whatever. Because it's kind of like the Stanley Parable for me of like, there's a lot of interesting stuff to do and see, but it's like I have to keep redoing the same stuff over and over every time I start.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, and then the game is like just a little too, for me right now, like aimless.
Yeah.
Like there's no clear direction of like where I need to go next, whatever. So I've just been kind of like looking at my thing and going, okay, I'm going to go here and kind of explore for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been struggling like with that of playing the game of like, well, I'm going to go launch here, go to this planet and kind of just explore around for a little bit and see what I see. But I don't know how much more I'm going to kind of keep doing that.
Understandable. And if you'd like some nudges towards directions, I can certainly do that if you'd like. I think there are, in terms of stuff like the quantum moon and things like that, there are things that the precursor race has left there to help you. It's essentially a pilgrimage path that they had as a race. And so then you can find shrines that then teach you things about those mechanics. And then, so those were some of the great points that I thought. I think if you can find one of those, if you want me to just give up straight information, I can sure direct you to it now. But
sure.
It's up to Per. Do you find to hear it?
I can't decide if I want to hear it or if I don't. No, go ahead. If I can choose to not follow it if I want.
Real quickly too, before we get into that, what is the quantum moon? Like I'm pretty sure I've been to like everything in the solar system here. I just don't remember names.
Sure.
Is it like an actual planet or whatever that you're landing on? Or?
So you'll find all these different things. Sometimes there's like little locators that show like the location of different things, and there'll be one that I can't remember what the symbol is, but there's all these different locators that'll show like, hey, here's where this planet is, and then you can look and see down the chute, and there's that planet. The quantum moon is one that, and there are references to it in little scrawlings everywhere, like, hey, I think there's another moon outside the planet tonight. Do you guys see that too? And sure enough, like they reply to it. They're like, oh yeah, no, that moon just showed up and now it's gone again. And so it's a wandering moon where it phases in and out at different planets. So sometimes you can look at it on the map. And have you guys come across quantum shards yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Yep. There's one of them inside the museum at the very first village. There's a spot there. If you're going from where, yeah.
So yeah, those are those purple lights or whatever that help you walk on walls.
No, those I'm not sure what those are. Now my things or whatever. There's another one in there. If it's a little side room where there's like 3 pillars up there, and then there's this black conical shaped rock with divots in it. And then if you look directly at it, it stays there. But then if you look away, it goes away.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that. I think at the museum or
Yep. So yeah, there's a few of them around. The first time you experience it is in the museum. So I feel safe not spoiling the existence of quantum stuff. And so that sort of quantum stone came from a place is their best guess, and that it came from this moon that wanders around as well. And so like those quantum shards, if the moon is there and you look away from it, it goes away again. Like even though it's this giant moon above you, you just look up and look down and look back up, it's gone. So you also you can try and land on that. And the pilgrimage path teaches you how you can land on it essentially, and what to do once you're there. That's yes. If you could probably finish the story without doing this part, but I would recommend doing this part. It's that was a really great moment.
So just with heck of it too, like in preparation for this, I watched a speed run of the game the other day, and they finished it in like 11 minutes. And
so you've seen the end game or what?
I've seen how it ends. And stuff
Tyler.
I kind of figured like I'm probably not going to get to the ending anytime soon, so I was like, okay, I kind of want to just see how this game kind of ends, kind of like what the trappings are and everything of the game. So I watched it. I was like, wow, this is kind of interesting, what they were doing and stuff like that. But
I suppose like probably most of this, I guess I don't know, I want to speak to most of the stuff, but I would assume that like a lot of it is just like learning how to travel fast, because really like once you're on the planet, I think once you're at the planet stuff that where you need to do what you need to do, like there's not that many steps to get to the end game. Like it's able to be done within a 22-minute loop just by the rules of it. So
the guy did it in 11 minutes, and he restarted 2 different times.
Huh.
But he like,
oh, it's because it's like to restart and get to the ship is faster than going back to the. Well, no.
Yeah. So this is all like early game stuff of what he was doing. Like he made it to the observatory, the museum and stuff, got the codes.
Yeah.
Then it's sort of like going straight to the ship. He just kind of threw himself off the ledge at this right angle that killed himself. Restarts. He died again by lighting himself on fire there at the beginning for some reason. I don't remember why. And then he sleeps for a little bit right away, and then takes off basically and goes straight through to the end game basically like under 8 minutes or so.
Speedrunners are the worst, but they're also really funny and awesome.
I love watching that stuff.
Like, how do you spend that much time figuring out, for example, the first thing you said, if I jump off here, I can kill myself. God.
Well, even just like getting to the observatory was just really amazing to watch. He like jumps on a branch, jumps up on a ledge, and then is pretty much almost halfway there.
Nice. All right. Well, any other closing thoughts here before we continue? Did I end up saying anything specifically about where to go, I guess? Probably not.
You didn't.
All right.
I
So
don't think you did.
the first place I would recommend is Giant's Deep is probably the first one where you'll learn a lot about the quantum stuff. The largest tornado is a key to learning about that.
Yeah, I figured something had to be up with that thing. I couldn't fly into it.
That's true. You cannot fly into it. Well, you cannot fly through it, I guess would be the better way to say it.
So just out of curiosity, on that planet there, like I had this happen to me like the very first time I landed on there. It's like, is this a bug or something like that? But like do the tornadoes just launch you into space and then you drop back down?
Yes, the
God,
tornadoes.
that was so weird. I'm like, what the hell is going on all of a sudden? Because I'm like out in space here now, and I'm like,
yeah, like a tornado passes over you, and all of a sudden it's the stars around you, and you're floating with 0 G, and you're like, what the fuck? and then just
And if you go to the right area, it will like launch a piece of land up in the air.
yeah.
and
If
you
you're
can
if you're on
jump.
land as you do it too, it takes you and the island up into the friggin' space,
The
and it
heavens.
falls back down.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking too that was like the same planet too that like launched a one of the planets like launched my ship into space too. Like after I landed, I
Yep.
was like, well, this is great. I'm not going to see that anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, you can go seek out the tornadoes and launch yourself up into space if you want to. But yeah. Yeah, the space traveling is definitely a really great thing. I don't know exactly how on par the orbital mechanics are. If it's as good as like Kerbal Space Program, I doubt it. But one of my more enjoyable moments was I got to a point. There's a station on the sun, not on the sun, but it's floating just above the sun's surface, and I went there, and basically the bridge between the two sections of it is destroyed. So if you're going as you originally get there, if you then travel to the other one, that's pretty easy because it's rotating super fast across the sun's surface, and so it's easy to get to the other side because everything is moving to push you that way. And so once I was done there, I tried to go back the other way, and halfway through, I just couldn't keep up, even with my jetpack, so then I fell behind. And so the station just races off, and I'm just sitting there orbiting the sun as just my character. And so then I'm going super fast, and at that point I just go ahead and just try and boost up out of it, and I can boost further away, and just eventually I'm just sailing at like 500 meters per second back towards Timber Hearth. Just as my character, my ship is gone, who knows where. And that was just great little time.
Yeah, speaking of like that, a lot of the design stuff I liked a lot there too. Just like how everything is just kind of like this wooden structure in the base that you start out with. Like your
Yeah.
ship is like this little wooden ship there, basically. Which is
Yeah,
like
great
hilarious
style
think
to
about.
things. Yep.
Yeah.
Everything is just podunk style space travel. And yeah, when things break, they just get like rusty and start coming apart, and you just have to fix them back up. And yeah, the style to
I'm
it is super good.
curious about this with like the jetpack. Do you only get like one main boost, basically like up, or are you able to
So,
hold that indefinitely as long as you have
so
fuel?
that stronger bar is like on a timer. So like as in the
Okay.
top left with your thing, as you hit that, that'll be I think it's like a 1.5, 2 second boost. And then it'll reset. It'll reset faster if you're back on the ground, but if you're in the air, you can also just wait it out, and it'll take 5-10 seconds to refill there. And then otherwise, yeah, it's just a matter of how much fuel you have is how much you can do that. I think it uses 3 times the fuel to do the stronger boost for that time.
Yep.
One of the things I didn't know early on was that the ship has its own jetpack refueler, so that was nice to get that.
Yeah,
And
discovered that a little later on in the game too.
well, what else? I feel like that's most of it here.
I think we keep interrupting you as you're trying to go. You're getting ready to explain something to us.
He said the Helm's Deep planet.
Helm's Deep.
Stop the Urukai.
That's right. I'm just looking through my ship log here, trying to see if there's anything critical that would be like a good time. If you found the statue, Giant's Deep has a lot of threads that lead to good places, I guess it'd be. So that'd be a good spot to do more investigating if you haven't, probably. And also the adventurer there, he's aware of the time loop. They haven't explained that part, but I should probably go back and talk to him to make sure he doesn't have more to say upon subsequent loops. But I think he's one of the only ones that is actually aware that time is looping, which is strange that you can't talk to him more about that. But yeah. Have y'all done much of the talking to other adventurers? Do you seek them out much, or you just kind of like, they're here?
I think I found the guy at the banjo on. I just lost the name
Brittle
of the
Hollow,
planet
I think,
again.
is the one that has
Brittle
banjo.
Hollow.
Yep.
Yep. I think I found him. Maybe talked to him for a little bit, but then that was kind of it. I was like, I gotta keep going here before my time runs out.
Yeah.
So I struggle with Brittle Hollow there, just trying to figure out, okay, where do I need to go? And by the time I get to where I'm sort of at, the planet's already starting to fall apart.
Yeah, Brittle Hollow's a rough one. So I feel like it kind of leads you there early on, because I feel like that's where I got stuck the first time that I was playing this game, where like Brittle Hollow is just such a pain to navigate, really. And I feel like it uses a lot of kind of rules that some other planets might teach you. Not necessarily like that you couldn't just learn it through there, but it's a hard place to learn those rules while the planet's crumbling around you, because then you're just thinking like, well, do I not understand something here, or has a piece of the planet that gets me from A to B fallen away? Is B missing, and I'm trying to get to C? You know. So yeah.
I learned something interesting about Brutal Hollow last night. Apparently, like the pieces actually go way out into the outside of the space there, where the white light, the white black hole, basically
Yep.
is.
Yep. White hole station. Yep.
Yep.
There's a little station out there, and you can get a little bit more information. And yeah, so the black hole has there is an end to it, and it just is slightly outside the galaxy. So then you go ahead and hang out there, and if you need to go back through it, then there's a teleporter for it, and yeah, that they can teach you how to teleport there using their fancy technology. It gets you back to Brittle Hollow. So yeah, cool stuff. That yeah, there's some good things to learn at Brittle Hollow, including some information about Giant Steep. But I don't think anything there is. If you're getting stuck on Brittle Hollow, go elsewhere, I guess would be my suggestion, because it's not critical right away. And I think getting more familiar with the controls and stuff like that helps. Not to say that the controls are difficult, but just like getting to the point where you can know, like, oh yeah, this much jetpack boost gets me this far, yada yada, and just like feeling that instinctive sort of naturalness with the controls, I think helps to get around there whenever you're both upside down and stuck to walls all over the place and taking gravity jumps around. And yeah, Brittle Hollow is just a lot. But it's a good place once you get the lay of it. I think there's still stuff there that I haven't found, so it's also not super critical. There are some notable points there, but the whole place has more than you need to do.
Okay.
So yeah, Giant Steep. Check out the Quantum Shard stuff there if you can find it. If you need more help, I'll be glad to help you. Yeah. I don't know. Anything else?
No, let's get back to it.
All right. So yeah, we'll meet back here next week is the current plan, or maybe even if like we finish it all in the next day or two, maybe just have a brief thing there if y'all want. But otherwise, we'll plan for next week and catch up there. We shouldn't need to talk about it nearly as much. I guess you did mention it a little bit. Like we'll maybe talk about it more in summation, but I do like the idea that I like not the idea. I like the way that we came to this game after playing both The Walking Dead, an incredibly linear game, and the Stanley Parable, a game that is completely. It's very choice driven, but each choice is also planned by the developer in that game. Like you have every moment needs to be preset. So this is a very good little freeform style version of a choice game, I think, to kind of follow up on that. I feel like they all complement each other real well, I think. Mm-hmm. So yeah, talk perhaps some more about that in summation once we could freely discuss spoilers and how these choices matter. On that note, then, we'll plan for next week and finish up talking about The Outer Wilds. So, thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye-bye.